everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you come in, relax, sit down, have have a beverage, you know, or do something and just listen to it and playing in the background. You don't have to have your eyeballs on it constantly. I know how things are. You got things to do. So I want to welcome you here, and I hope to inform, uh, and I hope to entertain you. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Okay, you want to be sure, to watch from the beginning to end, hopefully, and because you never know what's going to come out of this flapper. I never know what's going to come out of this flapper. I'm just winging it. So anyway, I just uploaded the dog grooming video, and this was something that you know happened. You know, and it came to be just out of the blue, and how all that happened, and this video here is kind of related. This video is going to be about dog shows and how I got into doing dog shows and breeding mini schnauzers, and so it was, just a wonderful, experience. And so, anyway, let's get on to it. Okay, as I said in the dog grooming video, I had gotten, a mini schnauzer puppy, and, not with intention of anything, just to have a pet. And anyway, he turned out to be a super duper pet, and he was highly loved, and he gave a lot of love. And anyway, he'd gotten hit by a car, and it was heart wrenching, to lose him. But before that happened, I had I don't know. I just get ideas to do something, and I'll usually think it over for a while and consider it and all that stuff before plodding ahead. But if I give myself to go, then I go ahead. Then I go ahead. So I thought, it'd be fun, to, uh, you know, get another puppy and, maybe breed and, get puppies. And because I love the breed, mini schnauzer breed so much, I just wanted to share it. And so I saw an ad in the paper, and it was for a female salt and pepper mini schnauzer. So explained everything, about her background and the, champions and the gene pool, in, you know, in her line. And it looked good to me. And I didn't know nothing at this time because uh, I hadn't studied it yet and did the research on it and everything. And she came with the her papers and all that stuff. And so I went ahead and got her and took her home. Named her Cokie. Named her after a she was a TV news reporter. I don't remember what channel it was. This was a long time. This was back in maybe early 90s, maybe 91, or yeah, probably like around 91. And but anyway, I like this reporter. She was intelligent, well spoken, and all that stuff. And I don't know. Uh, I just thought it was an unusual name for a dog and a person. She's the only person I ever knew named Cokie. Anyway, uh, so uh, you know, Cokie started growing, and uh, then I decided, it wouldn't hurt to have, another female. And so then I went and got uh, a little black and silver. And she too came with papers and came with a good, bloodline. And had a lot of high ranking champions in her, bloodline also. So had good potential. And she's just so cute. So I got her and named her Punky. And so anyway, um, I went to the library and got some books on genetics and dog breeding and how you're supposed to do it and the lines, how the that all that goes, but just uh, the genetics of it the most, and just what to do, and plus several other books um, on the topic. So I started doing a lot of reading and stuff, and then I heard about somehow I heard about the dog showing, and I used to love to watch the Westminster Dog Show. Every year I watched it. I loved it. And I was really good at picking out who I thought would be, the winners. Most of the time I was right on. And if I didn't get it, that was this one, certain one was going to come in first, then the one that I picked at least come in like second or third. So I was pretty good at that. And so anyway, I contacted the what was the Cincinnati Miniature Schnauzer Club, um, and I went to a meeting, met everybody, wonderful people, and one was a realtor, uh, one had her own photography studio. The other one was a ex retired music singer. Had a few hits and uh, used to do the pre-show with some pretty impressive popular bands at the time. When she was doing that. But anyway, uh, she was new in the club too, and and I'd say she was probably had the biggest opportunity and financially to purchase any dog she wanted. Whereas some of us didn't. And but anyway, what happened was is I not only improved my grooming by hanging with these folks because I learned a lot, and then going to like puppy matches and watching the groomers, uh, the handlers, groom their dogs, but also um, how to show, you know, and the process and all that stuff. And so anyway, I wasn't quite ready, to get in, my female, they weren't old enough, to breed yet. So I'm, gathering all this information. I'm also getting, there's these little books that, you get that, has the winners. Um, I think it come out like maybe monthly or bi-monthly or something like that. I don't remember now. But it had, the winners, the champions, the breed, the line. See, the idea is to build your name, build a line associated with the name of your um, name that you choose for, that goes on the registration papers for your dogs. You choose the name for the name of, uh, your line. So I had done that, and so I'm checking out all these different looks, these different lines, these different breeders, and so on, and gained a lot of knowledge and insight about what direction to go, because each of my girls had a different kind of line, you know, different champions. Well, the one was the salt and pepper line, and the other was, black and silver, who also had some black in her um, background, some black champions that were, famous, some of the first, um, black mini schnauzers. So, anyway, I went to I took my dogs to puppy match. They started getting, I mean, they grow pretty fast. They develop pretty fast, but they only get like so big, and they were evaluated by the by the club members. There was only like four of us, 4 or 5 of us. It wasn't a big group. Uh, for that breed. You know. So anyway, they were like, she's got this fault and this fault and this fault, and I don't think you're going to get anything good out of that. How about one of mine? Kind of went like that. So I said, well, I don't know. I think there's, possibilities. If I, you know, find the right stud, the right mate for him, there's a possibility that I could get a show dog just as easy as you. I mean, because there's no guarantee if you have two champions, you know how the litter is going to turn out. So anyway, I stuck to my plan, and I did my research, and I decided, okay, on the line. And now at first, uh, well, the some of the girls in the club also had the same, some dogs from of the same line, which would make them related, but not too closely related, but related enough that that gene pool was available. So the so I went that way, and I got some some pretty nice puppies, and I don't know, I just had this sixth sense about looking at them and being able to pick the best of the litter, the one that would had possibility of being worth showing. And in fact, I got so you know good at it, they used to call me in to, oh, why don't you come over and take a look at my puppies and see what you think. And because I was usually right on, and a lot of times I picked the one that they also had picked, and I would just validate that what I thought. But so anyway, I I started showing, and I was the first regular official for Points Dog Show that I went to. I was so nervous, my knees were knocking. I mean, I could barely walk. I mean, and before you show them, you kind of have to train your dog. I from a puppy, you got to use a certain type of leash, the dog show leash, and you you train them how to walk properly. And I used to, to also use that to, take them for walks down the street, get them used to, how to walk, next to you, and all that. And, like, I mean, the ticks were real bad. It wasn't bad in my yard because every spring I sprayed my yard, against, fleas and ticks and stuff. And so I didn't have a problem because I hated ticks. But when I went down the road, it was a country road, so there wasn't that much traffic. But I'd always come back home with ticks, you know. So, and the dogs, too, that they get on the dogs. So what I started doing is spraying them with flea and tick spray, you know, and I just started spraying my legs and my shoes and everything, so to keep the ticks off. But anyway, you got to put your training in, and I had I always had a way with when I was a little kid, I had a dog, and I got into training him. He could do all kinds of tricks. I mean, his name was Tippy, and I mean a boatload of tricks. I mean, people couldn't believe the stuff that I would train him to do. So I was pretty good at that. I was pretty good at uh, knowing how to train them. So anyway, after a while, I got to where, well, the first dog show I was at, I mean, I was total flop because I was such a nervous wreck. Nobody could screw it up as bad as I did that first time. But now puppy matches were more relaxing. Relaxed. It was more for fun. The only prize was just a ribbon. It wasn't for points. So uh, I started practicing more. Doing that, and got a little more relaxed and better at it. And by George, I started winning. A few of those little puppy matches, which the girls in the club couldn't believe it. I mean, especially when uh, my puppies outshined the puppies. My puppies had a more outgoing type personality because those girls, I mean, most of them, I mean, they work, or at least a couple of them. And so when you work, and you're gone, you have to, keep your puppy, keep your dog in a crate because that's what you have to do. You just can't let them run wild when there's nobody there to watch after them. Well, I didn't do it because I was home all the time, and doing the grooming and stuff. So mine didn't have to, stay caged, in a crate all the time, and was handled a lot more because they were part of the family, and so they had more of a outgoing kind of personality, and not so skittish, and so that would help them to show better, show well, because they're like and super friendly and just full of personality. Not that I'm bragging, but the I mean it was an enjoyable thing, and it was fun. And after a while, oh, I had bought also, I wanted to get a black male, and so I got one from this uh, one lady. She had a really good line, and it was the Walters, which was, in Punky's line, and of the blacks, and it also will give, the black and silvers a real good black coat, and usually real, good leggings and everything. But so she had this puppy, and I don't remember how I found out about it. So it was through an advertisement or something. Or I called her and asked her if she had any, and she did. She had this one black male. Oh, he was so beautiful. So I bought him, and he was like $1,000, and it might have been, plus shipping, because he had to go by, airplane, because he was on the other side of the country. And so I had to pick him up at the airport and all that. So I think he was around 4 months old when I got him. And but he had such a nice stand, to him and everything, and neck, and just, the way he was put together. But anyway, he produced some really nice, puppies for me. And then I'd gotten this other female from this other lady, and I think I paid like $7 or $7.50 for it, and it had to be shipped to me because it was in a New England state, and that dog had kind of a, she'd been crated a lot, hadn't been properly, socialized like I did with my puppies, and so she was like a little weird. She'd go out in the rain and just sit there. She wouldn't even come back, and she'd get home, you know. But but she was beautiful. She had some good qualities, and but she. I remember one time she was sitting in front of the china cabinet and just sitting there staring at it. And I thought, what the heck is she doing? And just kept staring at it, and like there's something there. So I pulled the china cabinet out from the wall a little bit, and this mouse came running out, and she dove after it. She caught it. But anyway, I mean that's what mini schnauzers do. They were ratters, you know, and a lot of times they're even in, competition for that. But anyway, to get back to and now she gave me a really good letter. I got like, I think, two possible, show puppies out of her, and the one was a big winner. I mean, I put her in a puppy match against all the other girls. They all had, their dogs there, and their dogs were already registered for some shows and had their show coat and all that, and they were older than her. And of course, she was too young, to be getting prepared for, show or anything. But she showed so good that day. I mean, she was just, walking the walk and doing her stuff, and just, I mean, she just charmed that judge, out of her socks. So the judge got her up on the table. You get them up on the table first, and then they, go over them, feel how they're put together, and, check everything, and then you walk them around the ring. And then after all that's done, then they place you. You go to the front, you go to the second, you go to the third, so forth. I couldn't believe we went to the front. We were number one. We won that day. We won the ribbon. And of course, the girls were like, are you kidding me? Did these puppies beat me? Beat my babies? So anyway, when we went back to, our spot, where we had our grooming table set up. They let me see that puppy. And they started checking her out and going, whoa. and and my friend Myra, she was, well, we had a lot in common because our birthdays was like one day apart. So, we had a lot in common. But anyway, she goes, if you ever decide to sell that puppy, I want it. And she knew a good dog when she saw it. She was good at that. And she had bought one male that had won huge in the show ring. And he was quite expensive. And but she got him. She wanted him in her kennel, and she got him. And he was a good producer too. But anyway, um, um, so what I did is that was the best puppy that I had produced up to then, you know. And well, I didn't produce them; the dogs did. But so when the papers came, you know, you apply for the registration papers for the amount of puppies, and so forth. I decided to gift my husband that puppy so that, and then any prizes and stuff would be, in his name. He would be the owner and so on. And because I intended on keeping her, of course. But then not too long after that, everything just fell apart. I found out some shenanigans was going on in the woodpile. And I got pretty upset about that, of course. I mean, I'll put up with some things and some things not. That's just the way I was. And I said, well, it's time to part. And, of course, making that decision, I had to give up everything. I had to give up, my dogs. I had to start selling them off. I took most of my equipment with me, but not all of it. And at first I kept three, and I had to sell off some of my best, And always, whenever I would sell a puppy, I would, you know, there was a contract that people had to sign that they would, have spayed or neutered. They weren't allowed to breed them to use the papers, and it was, marked. Sometimes I would withhold the papers till they, proved to me that they'd taken care of that. But anyway, I had to, I kept a few. And by the way, also like me and Myra had made a trade on puppies one time, and one of the puppies that she got from me, she bred it to one of her champions, and she ended up getting one of the best female puppies that she had ever gotten from anybody. And I mean, she had hired a handler to show it, and that dog won every show, won best of breed. And I can't remember, she might have won best in show one time. I don't remember, but I mean, she just. Whereas, sometimes I mean, you might get the points that you need because you could only show a schnauzer for so long, then the coat would blow because you had to go through a certain process to get the coats ready for the show, and then once the coat was blown, it was getting too long, then you had to, start over and wait till the next season, next time. Um, But so that puppy finished just on the one single, coat. Just every show it went to that this handlers took it to just one. So that made me proud. And everybody in the club goes, "Where'd you get that puppy?" And she said, "Well, the mother came from one of Denise's breedings." And they're like, "Really?" Yeah. And Myra told me what they'd said one time, that I'd probably never get anything any good out of my dogs. But wrong. But anyway, uh, so we made a deal. He got the house and property. So there were my grooming business and my dog show, puppy business, everything. And then I got this other piece of property that we had gotten in real cheap. I mean, it needed a lot of work, but anyway, had been in the process of remodeling it. So anyway, I ended up getting that property, and me and my two girls, moved there, and into town, and it's a small town, and but anyway. Things got hard. Now I had to get a job. Uh, I got like bartending job, and I did that, and then there was another opportunity for a different bartender job at a different place, a VFW club. So I did that, and but anyway, I don't want to get into a whole life story. I just want to focus on what happened in the dog show business. And I had gotten this camera to. That's when video cameras with the VHS, not like video and now, but the VAS, that you use to put in a VCR, and to film at the dog show. And I had that show, where I had the little puppy that, won big that day. And, but I don't know where that tape is, and I don't even own a VCR anymore. So, but I wish I had it. It was, but not. It's gone too. But anyway, I had to end up, selling all of them. You know, I sold this one, and I had gotten this one. She wasn't quite up to, the show ring, um, but she was good in obedience. So I took her through obedience training and was showing her in obedience ring. She was good. But anyway, I sold her to this lady. She drove a long way to get her, and she owned this business, and she intended, to keep her with her, take her to work with her, and then take her home with her, and I showed her, her obedience training, how good she was, and she just loved her, and she bought her. And so she went to good home. I always made sure the dogs went to, good homes. Did the best I could to make sure of that. And, but anyway, I guess that's pretty much it. If, but it went hand in hand, with the dog grooming. I mean, a lot of dog show people also, have grooming. And my club also did Schnauzer rescue. Like if there was a animal shelter that, had a Schnauzer that would come in to get, um, you know, put put in jail at the ASPCA, then somebody in the club would adopt it. And I know there was one that came in one time, and I took it because I had a kennel area and stuff, and then we would work out on rehoming it, finding a home for it. So uh, and then we would have at the dog shows, like we would have fundraising and auctions and prizes and stuff like that. I mean, that's the only club I think I ever belonged to, because I never was a club joiner. You know, it, that's just not something that I did. But it was necessary in order to do, you know, what I wanted to do. And but yeah, that was the only club I ever, you know, ever got involved with. And because I just wasn't, that wasn't my forte. I just wasn't into, you know, doing that kind of thing. But it was a good experience. I mean, I learned, a lot of things, from that. And so I think I even did a offered in my grooming business a where I would do boarding, like local people, my clients, like if they had to go out of town and didn't have nowhere for their dog to go, and then I would, take care of that. I, you know, and walk them, feed them, brush them, groom them, do all that stuff for while they were, on vacation or gone. And so anyway, and I didn't make a whole lot of money doing it. I mean, because I was probably didn't charge enough for the work that I did. Uh, and I would reinvest in the business, keeping up on buying the supplies, and you have to get your blades sharpened, uh, and sometimes replace the blades, buy new this, the shampoo, uh, you know, the flea uh, rinses, and all the stuff that it takes, and to feed your own dogs, all the dog food and the puppy, feeding everybody. and, uh, so, I mean, I made enough, to save up. Well, actually, when I got Rocky, I didn't even have enough money to get him. I had to go to the bank and ask for a loan, tell them what it was for and everything, and they loaned me the money to get him. And then, of course, I had, pay that back, but it was in reasonable, monthly payments. So, um, and I had my own account, for that. So they knew, you know, what, I would deposit and all that stuff. So, anyway, so that's kind of the way things went. And, I guess that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else. Oh, maybe, oh, like, delivering puppies and stuff. And then, one time sometimes you'd have a puppy that would be stillborn, you know, and you have to know what to do and revive it. So there was a couple of times I had to do that, and, to get the puppy jump started, get it moving and breathing and stuff, because they'd be born stillborn. And but there was things that you could do. You could turn upside down, to help get the fluid out, and then suck the stuff out of their mouth, and then go like this, and rub them and so forth. And a lot of times you could get them jump start them, and you know, and then you were like, whew, once they got going, you know. Um, and as you deliver them, you take them and because the mother's busy, so, you'd let her start out, clean them off and, getting familiar with the puppy, and then you'd take it and, finish up and, put it over in a box, with a little heating pad with a towel on it, and then, cover, keep them warm and everything until everything's done, and then you can, when it gets right time, you hand them back over to mommy. So right now I got 3 daughters, and the one in the middle, Lindsay, she's breeding dogs. I talked to her the other night, and she's got 3 litters coming. She said, last time that happened, we said, we ain't going to do that anymore. She said, but then now, here we are again. Got 3 litters coming. But she's got like standard poodles. And I think something else. She's breeding like this poodle doodles, noodle doodles, or something. I don't know. But I don't, it's not a full, poodle breed. I don't think that she's doing. She's doing this other thing. But anyway, when and my 2 youngest girls was with me at that time, so they would take care, help with the puppies and stuff. And then when I'd sell one, each of them got a puppy, so they would get the money for that. One time, one of them, I think it was Lindsay, who it happened to, she'd gotten her, each of them had $200 or $250, whatever it was, to do Christmas shopping, and she had her money in a wallet and lost it. She lost that wallet. I can't believe we never did find it. She was just there with her, hard work she did to earn that, and then ended up losing it. It. She just had to suck it in, suck it up, and what happened, what happened. But anyway, kind of this is getting long. I'm yammering. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. But that's my dog show story, and I think I got everything in. The problem is a lot of time when I do this kind of video, and then later on I think of something else. But talking about this kind of stuff helps me with my long-term memory to remember stuff, because there's a lot of things that I haven't thought about for a long time. When I had that mini stroke, it really affected my long-term memory. I mean, there was a time there when I couldn't remember anything. I mean, and I could barely remember what I did 5 minutes ago, so it affected my short-term memory. But my long-term memory, it was almost completely gone. And which forced me into, for a while there, until I started getting better, to live in the moment. Because that's the only thing I had. It's like I didn't have a past because I couldn't remember anything. And I certainly, couldn't think about the future. All I could do is, live in the moment and just do what I'm doing and at the time I'm doing it. And, be present in that, because if I started cooking and I left the kitchen and went in the other room and sat down, heck, it would burn up because I would forget about that I was cooking and to go keep an eye on the food. I mean, it was crazy. But, thank goodness I got better. But lately, now that I'm, talking about stuff, it's bringing up a lot of memories. And some of the memories, sometimes I'll say something, I'll go, well, wait a minute, that's not completely right, because, things are kind of fractal, and, timeline and how stuff happens sometimes is a little off. But then it comes to me, and I go, oh yeah, it happened, this way, not that way. So, so apparently doing these videos is helping with that, which is a good thing. And nobody will probably watch them anyway. But they'll be there for my great grandkids and my grandkids to watch. And, um, because you never know how long you got here. With all this stuff that I've got going on and with the health issues that is still up in the air, and I don't, know what's going to happen. They might be able to extend my life again. I mean, the doctors have, saved my life more than once. Give me some more years. They've done that a couple times. So, we have to see what happens this time. This time, I don't know. And so, if I'm given a few more years, wonderful. And if not, then at least these videos will be here. I'll have my sister let my family know, about them, and then they'll be able to, watch them, see what I had to say that I might not have said, you know, talked about, even, to them, because, well, in a lot of the situations, they were there, they lived it too, uh, but I'm sure the grandkids and the great grandkids, uh, really don't know me, but because, there's been a distance, with not being able to, be around me much. I mean, they know about me. They've probably heard stories from their mamas and stuff like that, but on a personal level, they don't know me. Not the way I knew my mammy. I'm doing a video about her, and she was so unique. I mean, she lived like pioneer style. Uh, she has. I have a story I want to tell about my mammy, and so I'm going to be putting that together, and that'll also be good for the grandkid, because they didn't know mammy. You know, my kids knew her and knew my mom, and but their children, their grown children, you know, didn't. And so I want to, put that on here. Jeez, oh, why does time keep going so fast? It goes fast when I'm talking. I can't believe it. I mean, well, that's enough. That's something that's going to be coming up. Pretty soon. You can watch it or not. It's up to you. Um, So if there's certain kinds of videos that you want to see and I'm not doing them, I just had to go with what I'm feeling at the moment. That I want to, that's on my mind. And on my heart, and what I want to talk about on a certain day or something. So, and if you have any questions and stuff, you can, put it, want to ask me something, you can put it in the comment. Because I look at every comment. I get a notification that I got a comment. It's not like I got, thousands of people watching, where it takes me all forever to go through the comments. No, it's not happening. And half my subscribers are from 17 years ago, when I had the aquariums, and people was subscribing back then, and who knows where they are now. They don't even know about these new videos and stuff. I mean, that was 17 years ago, and so anyway, I need to shut this down, because that little The comic up there is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. So I love you guys. You all take care. And if you watch this and you're interested in it, that'd be great. I mean, you could do like I do. Sometimes watch part of the video, and if you got something to do, go do it, and then that video gets saved over into your history. And then you can always go back in your history and click on it and, watch some more or finish watching it. I mean, I do that lots of times. There's lots of times, I got videos and, that I watch. I probably watch more YouTube than I do anything. And I've got subscriptions to, like Netflix and Max, and half the time I don't have time to watch them because there's so many interesting YouTube stuff and topics and people that I like to watch, and I mean, who are like my friends, So anyway, even though they don't know me, I like getting to know them. So anyway, take care, and if you have any questions, just put it in your comment, and I'll do the best I can to either answer it in comment, or it might be something that I want to jot down as a video, all depending on the question. Um, so okay, take care, love you, bye bye. Hey, I'm back. This is just a quick amendment. Something I remembered and thought of. That, okay, thing is, at the time of the divorce, they split up. I had to sell off, my puppies, my dogs and stuff. That little puppy that won that puppy match that Myra wanted so bad, she said, if you ever sell it, I want it. And so I called her and told her what happened, and she bought it from me. So that's the one I had signed over to, my husband, and I had to have him to sign papers over to Myra. And bless her heart, she gave me $1,000 for her, which really helped because I had to move, I had to start over, and so anyway, that's what happened. I'm glad she got her, and she was thrilled to get her. She got some nice puppies out of her, and showed her. And if I can remember right, I think I don't. I think that I had bred the mother of that puppy to one of her champions, and I had gotten you know um, a puppy from one of the other girls in the club, Striker. He was in black and silver, and he was a good producer. And so anyway, I had some really good dogs there. And then I was just getting built up and everything, and then kaboom. But Myra ended up getting that puppy, and she was thrilled. So anyway, that's all I wanted to add on to this video. It was kind of an important part of the story. Like I said, a lot of times I shut the video down and something else comes to me that I should have said or put in here, and it isn't too late to do it because I haven't put the video together yet. So that's enough. So thanks for watching. Love you. Take care. Bye bye. Subscribe and like. Thank you. Thanks for watching.